As a Member of Parliament, I was actively involved in the so-called CARS 21 process. What is the future of the car industry, of the automotive industry? And we worked together with ASEA to a high respect. And the future perspective was based on one special point. How can we work much more together in global standardization? I welcome very much that China is working actively in the so-called Working Party 29 in Geneva and shares a lot of standards. And my main message is China should use the UN ECE regulation to boost the global automotive market, and China would become faster, what we had as a topic in the first panel, a world champion. You can become a world champion if you catch up with high quality, high level standards and use them. And here we are in a situation of conflict, because still China uses some of the standards as a trade barrier. The Europeans do the same. And I think in order to overcome this, in order to really compare quality, we have to change this, and we have to go for the UN ECE global agreements. Let me take one example. It was also mentioned not only by Nissan, but also in the presentation of Mr. Chintai. It's the electromobility. It's the upcoming trend. It's the big trend. Where are we when it comes to electromobility? Now, the EU and China both are actively engaged in embedding electric motor-driven systems, MEPs, in their industry. It is not only a trend, it will become a reality. We had a vote in the previous panel about your expectations on this market, and it is key to go for a global standard. But at the moment, the national efforts, even the national efforts within the EU, are uncoordinated. I represented the European Parliament Germany, Dergwar, and there is a big fight with Fargwar, with France, concerning what standard should be used, how to boost the consumption of electric cars. The French would rather pay the people money, so reduce the cost of an electric car by a state subsidy. The Germans would choose another approach. The Germans would rather try to install infrastructure for that. So you see there are a lot of discrepancies within the European Union herself. And the EU plans to adopt standards between 2011 and 2017. But there are big discrepancies in the regimes between the EU, which is split, and China. And I have to say that the Chinese rules, the Chinese planned standards, are much more stringent than the European ones. So in this respect, China is a role model, is ahead. Why not involve these achievements into the UN ECE Geneva-based efforts? I think this would be the best possibility to use the Chinese standards that are more stringent. And I know that Ivan might not agree with that, because he represents the European industry. But why don't use, overcoming the hand and egg problem, Chinese standards? Because they are a little bit advanced. EU just takes much too long time. I can tell you, our processes are very, very long. And sometimes it's burdensome for ourselves. It tires ourselves in the European Parliament to have a lot of votes and a lot of thinking and a lot of analysis and testing. You are faster. Use your advantage in Geneva. Let me conclude in 5 points. The first point, standards are important for the world market, for developing world markets. They are a key for anybody to become a world champion, but they can be a barrier for trade, and we should overcome it. Second point, we Europeans, we are not the fastest, but we have a good experience in standardization. and we would like to share this experience in our standardization bodies. Third point, the UN ECE in Geneva is a very important body and has become a global body now for the globalization of standards. Please use it. The fourth key message, China is in the meanwhile an important source of standards, especially in the electromobility, and the 12th five-year plan especially says that China wants not only to contribute in standardization, but also says that the clean automotive cars, so electric cars, are a strategic industry. And you know much better than me that a lot of money will be given to these industries to overcome your problems there. Clean energy vehicles will have a contribution of just 500 billion euro, not only for that, but for the strategic industries that will be given by the state to these industries. So let's use that. And last point, let's take the opportunity of this emerging market of electromobility to develop a world market that is fast, secure, and of high quality.